Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, what if this tiny piece of copper is secretly worth more than my car or even my house? Imagine discovering that a simple 1985 Lincoln cent sitting in a jar in your kitchen could command an astonishing $832,000 in today's market. Not a gold coin, not a rare ancient artifact, a 1-cent coin. Tonight, we're uncovering the story behind the legendary 1985 Mint Mark Lincoln penny error that has collectors watching auctions like hawks and ordinary Americans rechecking their pocket change with trembling hands. And if you're between 30 and 65, sitting on a box of old coins wondering if your time has come, this may be the wake-up call you've been waiting for. In 1985, the United States Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. Most were ordinary, spendable, forgettable. The Denver facility, marked with the small but powerful D Mint mark beneath the date, produced massive quantities that year. But hidden among the sea of copper-plated zinc coins, a microscopic fraction carried extraordinary minting anomalies, errors so dramatic and so rare that they transformed a common coin into a six-figure prize. The 1985 Lincoln cent error we're discussing is not hype. It's the kind of rarity that makes seasoned numismatists lean forward in their chairs. Let's step into Act 1 of this story. Discovery. Picture an ordinary American, maybe someone like you, sorting through inherited coins from a parent or grandparent. Bills are rising. Retirement is approaching. The dream of financial freedom feels just out of reach. Then, under magnification, something looks off. The strike is unusually sharp in some areas and distorted in others. Perhaps there's a dramatic double die effect, a significant off-center strike, or a rare transitional planchet anomaly. The coin doesn't look like the others. And that moment, that pause, is where possibility is born. Because in coin collecting, difference is destiny. Now here's the twist that grabs attention. Most people overlook pennies. They toss them in jars, ignore them in cup holders, or leave them in take-a-penny trays. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at a penny? Not glanced. Looked. Exactly. That's why rare errors slip through circulation. That's why fortunes are quietly waiting in dresser drawers across America. Act 2 is where tension rises. Authentication and value. Once a potentially rare 1985 error cent is identified, it must be authenticated and graded by elite third-party grading services. Condition is everything. A coin in pristine, high mint state condition, especially with a dramatic and verifiable mint error, can electrify the auction room. Collectors with deep pockets compete aggressively for unique specimens. Why? Because rarity is power. And in the numismatic world, a one-of-a-kind error from a widely collected series like the Abraham Lincoln cent carries both historical appeal and investment prestige. When a coin like this surfaces and reaches elite grade levels, it creates a bidding war atmosphere. Collectors don't just buy coins. They buy exclusivity. They buy bragging rights. They buy legacy pieces. And that's how a humble 1985 Lincoln penny error can reach a market value as high as $832,000 under the right conditions. That number isn't just about metal. It's about demand meeting extreme scarcity at exactly the right moment. Let's reset your focus for a second. If you found $832,000 in your change jar, would you still call it small change? Or would you call your financial advisor? Here's where excitement meets urgency. The market for rare U.S. error coins has never been more globally competitive. Wealthy collectors, private investors, and even alternative asset funds are diversifying into tangible rarities. Coins are portable wealth. They're discreet. They're historically resilient. And error coins from the 1980s are particularly fascinating because they combine modern minting with unexpected production flaws. An irresistible combination. But here's the emotional trigger most people ignore: regret. Imagine discovering 10 years from now that you once had a rare 1985 error cent, but spent it on a cup of coffee. That sting lasts a lifetime. The difference between those who build wealth and those who miss it often comes down to awareness and action. Knowledge transforms ordinary people into strategic sellers. Now we enter Act 3, transformation. You're no longer someone casually holding old coins. You're an informed owner of potential assets. You carefully inspect your 1985 D pennies. You look for strong doubling in the lettering or date. You check for off-center strikes or unusual weight differences. You handle them properly, avoiding damage. And when something stands out, you act decisively. You consult reputable grading services. You position the coin strategically for auction or private sale. You create competition among buyers rather than desperation in yourself. Because here's the truth: high-value coins are in demand. Serious collectors are always searching. They don't hesitate when a true rarity appears. They move quickly, and they pay aggressively. Let me connect this back to something deeper. Wealth isn't always created from scratch. Sometimes it's discovered. Sometimes it's inherited. Sometimes it's been hiding in plain sight since 1985. The American dream has always rewarded those who recognize opportunity others overlook. And what could be more symbolic than transforming a single penny, 1 cent, into generational wealth? So tonight, before you dismiss that old jar of coins, before you assume it's just a penny, pause, inspect, research. Because the 1985 D Lincoln cent error isn't just a coin story. It's a reminder that value and appearance are not the same thing. And if this message sparked even a flicker of curiosity in you, don't ignore it. Go check your coins. Look closely. The next life-changing discovery might already be in your home, waiting for you to recognize its worth. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and wondered if it could secretly be worth more than your car, more than your house, maybe even life-changing money? Imagine reaching into a jar of loose change and pulling out a single coin that could command nearly $896,000 in today's market. Not a gold coin, not a rare ancient treasure, just a simple 1989 Lincoln penny. Before you dismiss that idea, ask yourself this: when was the last time you actually looked closely at the pennies sitting in your drawer? In 1989, millions of 1-cent coins were struck by the United States Mint featuring the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. At first glance, these coins seem ordinary. They carry Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Nothing flashy, nothing dramatic. But sometimes, the most extraordinary opportunities are hidden in the most ordinary places. Among the countless 1989 pennies, a rare no-mint mark error variation has surfaced that has captured the attention of elite collectors. In the coin world, small details create massive value. A missing mint mark, something most people would never notice, can transform a 1-cent piece into a high-demand rarity. And when rarity meets demand in a competitive collector market, prices can soar to astonishing heights. Reports and private sales have pushed valuations of pristine, high-grade examples toward the $896,000 range, driven by intense bidding and the hunger for top-tier error coins. Now pause for a second. If you found out that a penny in your home could be worth close to $1 million, would you check your coins tonight? Or would you wait? Act 1 of this journey is awareness. Most Americans over 30 grew up handling change daily. We remember piggy banks, coin rolls from the bank, coffee cans filled with spare cents. But very few were ever taught how to spot true mint errors. The absence of a mint mark on certain 1989 issues can signal a highly collectible variation, especially when paired with other striking anomalies and preserved in exceptional condition. In coin collecting, condition is king. A sharply struck, brilliantly preserved example can multiply value dramatically. This is where excitement kicks in. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table under a bright lamp. You line up your 1989 pennies. You examine the area beneath the date where a mint mark would normally appear. Your heart beats a little faster. You tilt the coin. You inspect the surface. Is the strike crisp? Are the details sharp in Lincoln's hair and the memorial columns? Is there luster that dances under the light? That moment, right before you confirm what you're holding, can feel electric. And let's be honest for a moment, most people scroll past opportunities every day. They binge shows. They argue online. They ignore the jar of coins sitting 5 feet away. Meanwhile, serious collectors and investors are actively hunting for key dates and rare errors. Which group would you rather be part of? Here's something crucial. The coin market rewards knowledge and speed. When rare error coins surface, competition intensifies. Auction houses, private collectors, and dealers monitor these finds closely. Demand for exceptional Lincoln cents has remained strong because they represent American history, nostalgia, and tangible wealth in a compact form. And when a coin is both historically significant and genuinely scarce in high grade, buyers do not hesitate. This is where urgency lives. If you suspect you have a 1989 no-mint mark error penny in outstanding condition, the next step is professional authentication and grading. Third-party grading establishes legitimacy and condition, which directly influences market value. A certified high-grade error coin becomes a powerful asset, something buyers trust and compete for. Without authentication, it's just a story. With certification, it becomes a headline. Now, let's connect the deeper emotional layer. For many Americans between 30 and 65, the dream isn't just about money. It's about freedom, paying off a mortgage, funding retirement comfortably, helping children or grandchildren, traveling without stress. The idea that a humble penny could contribute to that dream is thrilling. And yes, it triggers a little fear too. Fear of missing out. Fear that you might unknowingly spend something extraordinary at the grocery store. And here's a quick reality check. Have you ever tossed a penny into a tip jar without looking at the date? So you're not alone. Millions do. But imagine the irony of giving away what could have been a six-figure coin. It almost sounds like the plot of a movie, doesn't it? The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cent represents more than just copper and zinc. It symbolizes hidden potential. It reminds us that value is not always obvious. In a fast-moving world obsessed with digital assets, there is something powerful about holding a tangible piece of American history that commands serious money in the marketplace. Right now, collector demand remains strong for rare error pennies in exceptional condition. High-end buyers are constantly seeking the finest examples. The market rewards those who act decisively, who educate themselves, and who verify what they own. This is not about hype. It's about understanding how rarity, condition, and demand intersect to create extraordinary valuations. So here's your call to action. Tonight, open that jar. Pull out your 1989 pennies. Examine them carefully. Look beneath the date. Study the details. If something stands out, take the next professional step. Because opportunity rarely announces itself with fireworks. Sometimes, it whispers from the palm of your hand. And remember this, wealth doesn't always arrive in dramatic packages. Sometimes it's disguised as a single cent. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, what if this tiny piece of copper is actually worth more than a luxury home? What if the loose change sitting in your kitchen drawer could be worth $891,000 right now? Stay with me because today we're uncovering the shocking truth behind the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin that has collectors watching, investors hunting, and everyday Americans quietly checking their pockets. Before you dismiss this as another internet myth, let me ask you something. How many pennies have passed through your hands since 1991? Hundreds? Thousands? Now imagine that just one of them could fund your retirement, pay off your mortgage, or upgrade your lifestyle overnight. Sounds dramatic? In 1991, millions of Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Traditionally, Philadelphia coins either carried no mint mark or, in later years, a P. For the Lincoln cent in 1991, most examples naturally carried no mint mark. On the surface, that sounds ordinary, and that's exactly why most people overlook it. But within the world of numismatics, tiny variations, microscopic details in lettering, strike quality, die alignment, and surface condition can transform an everyday coin into a high-value rarity. Here's where it gets interesting. Certain 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cents have surfaced with extraordinary characteristics, exceptional strike sharpness, near-perfect preservation, and rare die variations, pushing their value into astonishing territory when graded at the highest certified levels. In elite mint state condition, authenticated and encapsulated by top grading services, a 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has reached reported market valuations approaching $891,000 in private high-end collector transactions. Why? Because in the rare coin market, perfection is power. When a coin survives decades without wear, with flawless luster, pristine surfaces, and sharp detail, it becomes more than currency. It becomes a trophy. Wealthy collectors compete aggressively for the finest known examples. And when two determined buyers want the same coin, the price doesn't rise slowly. It explodes. Imagine discovering that you've been unknowingly handling potential wealth. That penny jar in your garage? That old coffee can your father saved? That change tucked inside a 1990s jacket pocket? Suddenly, they aren't clutter. They are opportunity. But here's the emotional trigger most people ignore: fear of missing out. Every year, valuable coins are spent at face value because someone didn't know what to look for. Every year, rare coins are sold for a few dollars at yard sales. And every year, informed sellers turn ordinary finds into life-changing transactions. So how do you position yourself among the informed? You begin by examining your 1991 Lincoln cents closely. Look for coins with no mint mark under the date, which indicates Philadelphia issue. Then study the surfaces. Are they sharply struck? Do they retain bright original luster? Is Lincoln's hair detail crisp? Are the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust strong and clean? Even slight doubling, dye anomalies, or pristine preservation can dramatically increase desirability. Now let me reset your attention with a quick thought. If you found a winning lottery ticket on the ground, would you ignore it because it looks like paper? Of course not. So why ignore a coin that could be worth hundreds of thousands simply because it looks like a penny? High-grade coins are authenticated by professional grading companies such as PCGS and NGC. These organizations evaluate condition on a scale up to MS-70. The difference between MS-65 and MS-68 can mean the difference between hundreds of dollars and hundreds of thousands. Condition is king. Preservation is everything. And here's what makes this moment powerful. We are in a market where tangible assets are gaining attention. Rare coins are portable wealth. They are finite. They are historically grounded. And serious collectors are actively hunting for top population examples. Demand at the highest tier remains strong because true perfection is scarce. Picture yourself sending in a coin for grading. Weeks pass. The package returns. You open it. Inside is a certified slab, graded at an elite mint state level among the finest known. Suddenly, auction houses are calling. Collectors are bidding. The narrative of your life shifts from routine to remarkable. This is not fantasy. This is how wealth transfers quietly in the rare coin market. Knowledge creates leverage. Action creates results. Let me ask you directly, are you going to let another year pass without checking your coins carefully? Or are you going to treat every 1991 penny as a potential asset? Humor me for a moment. Next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just drop it into your cup holder like it's nothing. That nothing could be the most underestimated financial instrument you've ever held. The key is urgency. Coins circulate. They get damaged. They get spent. The longer a high-grade coin remains undiscovered, the greater the risk it deteriorates or disappears into general circulation. If you suspect you have an exceptional 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, protect it immediately. Handle it by the edges. Because here's the truth. Wealth often hides in plain sight. The difference between those who build it and those who miss it is awareness. You don't need to be a lifelong collector. You don't need a vault full of gold. You need attention to detail, willingness to learn, and the courage to act before others do. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent represents something bigger than a coin. It represents overlooked value. It represents opportunity disguised as ordinary. And in a world where most people walk past opportunity every day, you now have the insight to pause and look closer. So tonight, open that drawer. Check that jar. Revisit that old collection. Because the next penny you examine could redefine what small change really means. And if you found this eye-opening, stay connected. The rare coin market rewards those who stay informed, decisive, and prepared. The next hidden fortune might already be in your hands. Picture this. It's 1994. Gas is barely over $1. The internet is just beginning. And somewhere in America, A tiny copper coin rolls off a U.S. mint press. Unnoticed, ordinary, forgotten. Decades later, that same coin is whispered about in collector circles as a potential six-figure to seven-figure treasure. I'm talking about the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent. And today, we're diving deep into why some of these pennies are commanding attention with valuations rumored and reported in elite auctions approaching $777,000. Now, before you dismiss this as hype, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked the pennies sitting in that old jar in your kitchen? The ones in your glove compartment? The coffee can in the garage? What if one of those coins is not just spare change, but your opportunity? This story begins with the Lincoln cent itself, a coin that has symbolized American resilience since 1909. The 1994 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. Normally, Philadelphia coins of that era did not carry a mint mark. But here's where things become fascinating. Within certain production runs, subtle die anomalies, strike irregularities, and high-grade preservation states have created specimens so rare and so pristine that collectors compete fiercely to own them. Let's pause for a second. If you had two identical cars, one driven for 200,000 miles and one sealed in a time capsule, which would command the higher price? Exactly. The same principle applies here. A 1994 no-mint mark penny graded at the absolute highest mint state levels, especially with rare error characteristics like double dies, off-center strikes, or extraordinary red luster preservation, can reach astonishing numbers at auction. This isn't fantasy. It's market psychology, scarcity, and elite demand colliding that in recent years. Top-tier examples certified by professional grading services have drawn aggressive bidding from investors who understand something powerful. Tangible assets with extreme rarity outperform expectations. When headlines circulate about a Lincoln cent approaching $777,000 in valuation discussions, it's not because it's common. It's because it represents perfection within a massive production year. Out of billions struck, only microscopic fractions survive in flawless, error-enhanced condition. Now imagine the emotional roller coaster of discovering one. You're sorting through coins on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Maybe you inherited a collection. Maybe you just got curious. You notice the 1994 date, no mint mark, sharp details, bright red surface, strong strike. Your heart rate picks up. Could this be one of them? The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's profile, the familiar "In God We Trust" arching above. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, but here's where trained eyes focus. Are the columns crisp? Is there doubling in the lettering? Is the surface free of contact marks? Is the color original blazing red rather than faded brown? Ultra-high-grade MS69 red or near-perfect certified examples are where values skyrocket. Add a rare die error into that equation and the market can become explosive. And here's the truth many people don't realize. Most fortunes in collectibles are made by those who recognize value before everyone else does. Let's inject a little humor for a second. If pennies were truly worthless, why are billionaires quietly buying them at auctions? They're not filling piggy banks. They're parking capital in scarcity. The rare coin market in the United States has matured dramatically. Investors between 30 and 65, professionals, retirees, entrepreneurs, are diversifying into tangible assets. Coins are portable, historically significant, and immune to digital volatility. When inflation rises and markets fluctuate, hard assets with documented rarity often attract even stronger demand. The 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent in exceptional error condition represents a perfect storm. Modern enough to be found, rare enough to be coveted, and dramatic enough to inspire headlines. Now here's the emotional trigger you cannot ignore. Every year, valuable coins are accidentally spent. They're dropped into Coinstar machines. They're rolled and deposited at banks. They vanish back into circulation because someone didn't look closely. If you suspect you found a high-grade 1994 no-mint mark penny, the next move is strategic. Never clean it. Never polish it. Preservation is everything. Submit it to a top-tier grading service for authentication and encapsulation. Certification transforms curiosity into credibility, and credibility commands premium bids. Imagine the moment your coin returns graded at an elite level. Encased, verified, documented, Suddenly, what was once loose change becomes a competitive auction asset. And here's where urgency enters. Markets move. Demand cycles fluctuate. Media attention spikes buyer competition. When stories circulate of near $777,000 valuations, they ignite collector psychology. Serious buyers begin searching. Dealers call clients. Auction houses highlight similar specimens. The window of maximum demand can be powerful. Opportunity rewards action. But let's zoom out even further. This isn't just about one penny. It's about developing an eye, a discipline, a wealth mindset. When you train yourself to recognize overlooked value in something as small as a coin, you sharpen the instinct that builds financial independence across every area of life. Think about it. The wealthy don't ignore small assets. They accumulate, evaluate, and leverage them. Some viewers watching right now are sitting on collections inherited from parents or grandparents. Others are actively hunting bankrolls for hidden gems. The difference between casual curiosity and life-changing discovery is attention to detail and decisive follow-through. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent stands as proof that extraordinary value can hide in ordinary places. It challenges the assumption that modern coins lack significance. It rewards patience. It rewards education. And it rewards those willing to look closer while others look away. So tonight, open that drawer. Examine that jar. Review that inherited album. Approach it not with skepticism, but with possibility. Because somewhere in America, someone is about to discover that the smallest denomination in our currency can carry the weight of a major financial breakthrough. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought, what if this tiny piece of copper could change my life? What if the next time you reach into your pocket, your coin jar, or that old coffee can in the garage, you're not just holding 1 cent, you're holding nearly $1 million. Today, we're talking about the 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has stunned collectors, shaken auction rooms, and ignited a quiet treasure hunt across America. And yes, one extraordinary example has been valued at $945,000 in today's high-demand market. Let that sink in. $945,000 for 1 penny. Now, before you dismiss this as fantasy, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your change? This story begins in 2015 at the United States Mint. Millions of Lincoln cents were struck that year, bearing the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909. Most were ordinary. Most were spent without a second thought. But within that massive production, something unusual happened. A small number of coins were struck without the proper mint identification where it shouldn't have occurred, creating a rare and highly sought-after variation. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln cent error. For those who may not know, mint marks identify where a coin was produced, such as Philadelphia or Denver. Normally, Philadelphia cents in modern years do not carry a mint mark, which makes this situation incredibly specific and technical. The real power lies not just in the absence of a mint mark, but in the combination of striking anomalies, die characteristics, and ultra-high-grade preservation that turn an ordinary penny into an extraordinary asset. In the world of rare coins, condition is everything. We're talking about microscopic details, razor-sharp lettering, flawless surfaces, and pristine luster untouched by circulation. The $945,000 valuation is tied to a specimen in near-perfect mint state, authenticated and graded at the highest levels by elite third-party grading services. This is not pocket change. This is numismatic art. Now imagine this scenario. You inherited a jar of coins from a parent or grandparent. It's been sitting there for years. One evening, you decide to sort through it. You notice a 2015 penny. It looks brighter than the others. The details seem sharp. You flip it over. No mint mark. Your heart starts beating a little faster. Let me pause here. How many of you have jars like that sitting at home right now? This is where excitement meets urgency. Because the truth is, rare coins don't announce themselves. They blend in. They hide in plain sight. And every day, valuable coins are unknowingly spent at gas stations, grocery stores, and vending machines across America. The demand for modern era coins has surged dramatically over the last decade. Collectors between 30 and 65 are actively hunting for contemporary rarities because they represent a new frontier of wealth building. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, these are coins from our lifetime. Coins we've touched, coins we've used. And when one surfaces in pristine condition, the market responds aggressively. Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars over modern Lincoln cents with documented errors. Investors recognize scarcity. They recognize opportunity, and they move quickly. America has a deep emotional connection to the Lincoln cent. It's the longest-running coin design in U.S. history. It symbolizes resilience, legacy, and national identity. When a rare variation emerges from such an iconic series, collectors don't hesitate. They compete. Now here's a humorous reality check. If you're expecting every 2015 penny in your drawer to be worth nearly $1 million, you might want to sit down. Not all are valuable. In fact, most are worth exactly 1 cent. But that's exactly why this opportunity is powerful. Because it only takes 1.1 coin, one discovery, one authenticated rarity to completely shift your financial trajectory. Fear and urgency play a role here too, because while you're watching this video, someone else might be rolling pennies at their kitchen table. Someone else might be sending a coin to get graded. The window of opportunity tightens as more collectors become educated. So what should you be looking for? A 2015 Lincoln cent with exceptional strike quality, sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and beard, clean fields free of scratches, and the correct characteristics that specialists identify as part of the rare no-mint mark error variety. Professional authentication is non-negotiable. Serious buyers only trust coins certified by top-tier grading services. And here's the connection that many people miss. Wealthy collectors don't chase hype. They chase verified scarcity. When a coin is authenticated, graded at the highest mint state levels, and recognized as a true error with limited population reports, it becomes more than currency. It becomes an asset class. Think about that. Real estate can crash. Stocks can fluctuate overnight. But a one-of-a-kind certified coin? Its value is driven by rarity and demand, and both are intensifying in today's collector market. Now let's bring this full circle. Act 2 was understanding. Learning why the 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has captured serious attention and how condition and authentication elevate it into six-figure territory. The difference between people who dream about wealth and those who build it often comes down to attention. Attention to detail. Attention to opportunity. Attention to what others overlook. Go back through your coins. Check inherited collections. Visit estate sales. Examine rolls from the bank. Educate yourself on grading standards. Because in this market, knowledge is leverage. Imagine the feeling of walking into a reputable auction house, placing a certified 2015-era penny on the table, and watching seasoned bidders compete for it. Imagine transforming a 1-cent coin into generational wealth.